Good evening and welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacey Johnson. Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight is Aguna, the Nigerian moderate Republican, Keith, the constitutional conservative, who's late, Stephen, the independent thinker, and my cousin Todd. We've got a packed show for you tonight. It's Constitution Day. Did you know that? I think Keith knew it was Constitution Day. But new apparent Trump assassination attempt highlights the Secret Service's strains in their system. Stephen with NASCAR and pagers. It was really weird. Pagers exploded simultaneously throughout Lebanon tonight. Week 2 in the NFL, we'll hear what Aguna and Stephen has to say about their teams. Haitian immigrants are model workers in Ohio as schools close for days. The Phillies are winning, and they play tonight. They're actually playing right now. What did you think about the Harris-Trump debate? We'll talk about that during the show. College football week 3, talk about your favorite team. A cut, and then what? The Federal Reserve is set to cut U.S. interest rates for the first time since the pandemic. History shows that the state of the economy will play a crucial role in how markets respond. Russia threatens Ukraine and the West as long-range missile strikes looms, and more if we can fit it in. First up, Stephen with NASCAR. Stephen, what do you have with NASCAR?
Well, you know that I love road courses, and we had Watkins Glen just this past Sunday. It was a wonderful race. It turned out really well for me. Chris Buescher won, and he won for me. But I would have won a lot more if the guy who came in second hadn't been passed by Chris. Shane Van Guschenberg or whatever his name is. He's just a ringer that comes in for races like this, basically for road courses. But it was all good. Wins a win, W's W. Everything's good. They go to Bristol next week. There's 8 more races left in the playoffs, and it's so weird right now because there's guys in the playoffs that have a chance to win the championship that you wouldn't even imagine should even be here. And the best guys they're down to like Kyle Larson. I think he's about 9th or 10th. Everybody had the chance because everybody's real bunched in together. But we might get a champion this year that nobody's ever heard of. And to me, that's what's racing. It makes it better now because you used to have in the 60s, 70s, 80s, Richard Petty won every race. We had some people won. They were ahead 20 laps ahead, 50 laps ahead, winning the race because it was not as competitive. Right now, NASCAR is as best as it's ever been. It's completely different than it ever was, but everybody has a chance to win the championship. Everybody has a chance to win a race because the cars are so identical, and it takes just a little tiny bit of what a driver can do and what the crew chief can do and what the crews can do to make it just that much better and not make a mistake and not do anything wrong. So that's why NASCAR is still number 1 with me, and they've lost. Like Richmond, we just lost one of our races. We used to have 2 races since like the 50s. We lost one because it's not as popular as it was. But a lot of people just backed out. They're not watching. If people were paying attention to racing, there'd be a lot more fans than they are right now. So the future is a little bit murky, a little bit hot, a little bit cold. But I am enjoying it, and I'm soaking it all in. And Bristol is this week, and that's like a half-a-mile track. It's a great race. If anybody gets a chance, check it out.
So why do you think the racing has decreased in viewership?
Because of everything that NASCAR's been doing. It's very corporate run. It's corporate run. So everything they've been doing has been hurting the true fans that have been fans for 50 years, 40 years, 30 years, whatever.
What have they been doing?
The whole everything that was with Bubba Wallace turned about half the fans off that they weren't
Bubba,
going to watch anymore. When they
Bubba,
said there was a noose and the FBI checked it out, and it
uh,
took the FBI a month
That
or
was years
2 months
ago.
to figure out that it was a pull that you pull with your hand and it wasn't a noose. It was all
That
this
was
crap.
years ago.
It's all this corporate woke crap that they did. Plus, it happened way before that too because they changed a lot of the rules. They had in the pits. They have speed limits now in the pits. Racing used to be racing where when you go to the pits to get your tires changed or to get some gas, you didn't slow down. You raced full speed into the pit and people were getting hurt, blah, blah, blah. And that hurt a lot of people too, because that's not hardcore racing. Hardcore
okay,
racing, real racing, real racing.
let me ask you this.
Okay.
Was it, now I want you to take your time.
Yes, sir.
Was it Bubba Wallace and the noose, or
Okay.
was it what you just said about not slowing down to get gas and change your
Yeah.
tires?
No, it's been a combination of things. It's been accumulative. You can understand that, right? It's been a series of things that the corporations have done to beat down NASCAR. It's taken a lot of the fun out of it. Like NASCAR is like Evel Knievel jumping over 50 buses. That's what the appeal of NASCAR is. If you make it so white bread, nobody wants that, you know?
What's
Well,
white bread?
but of all the things you mentioned, why did you highlight Bubba Wallace? They happened a couple
Because
years
that was
ago. Why do you
huge.
think of all these other
That was
things?
the most recent thing, and that was huge.
That was
And it wasn't. I'm not saying it's Bubba Wallace's fault. I'm saying
No,
it was
you brought it up.
NASCAR's. No,
You
it was
brought it up.
NASCAR's fault for capitulating to the corporations when they had to say, "We are so not racist. Look how not racist we are." But
I
they
think
never
that's
had to.
your opinion. See, I also believe
It's
if
not my opinion.
if the fans are so sensitive that stuff like that will turn them away.
No, it was just. It
They've
was
been watching
absolutely
for years.
blatantly disgusting. It was disgusting what they did with Bubba
It
Wallace.
sounds like more.
But I don't blame Bubba Wallace for it. I'm a fan of Bubba Wallace. It's not his fault.
I think
It was
it's
the
an old.
corporations that wanted. It was
I don't
just
think
like
younger generations-
that guy that said, "Oh, you're in MAGA country." What was that guy's name? Oh, I'm in MAGA, and he got beat up by two MAGA guys. What was that guy? He's an actor. That's what I'm talking about. That kind of garbage is garbage, man. Nobody wants Jesse Smollett. It was like Bubba
Okay.
Wallace became Jesse
Going on,
Smollett.
right.
Okay,
Let's have a
okay.
dialogue. Can we have a dialogue, please? Bottom line of it is the younger generation doesn't like that NASCAR crap. They don't want to go out and sit in the sun and watch the races going around. They can bet online. They can do their phone things. It's not interest to them. Now, you being sensitive or trying to highlight all these other political things, which
a lot of reasons.
If you go to a NASCAR, you see a bunch of Confederate flags. You see all these people drinking.
You don't see they banned Confederate flags. They banned Confederate flags years ago.
The fact that they even had to should tell you something. So
a Confederate flag
away from it.
They banned that when Bubba Wallace was talking about.
No, they banned Confederate flags before Bubba Wallace was there.
Well, that's the culture of it, right? So now you see why people.
Yeah, but the culture is not anybody that hates anybody. They don't hate anybody. Nobody hates anybody because they have a Confederate flag. It's just their heritage.
Ask the people who are getting hated on whether they feel hated. Now, you can't just have that opinion and say, "Oh, nobody's hated." Yeah, ask people, and they'll give you their opinion.
If people feel like they're being hated, but they're not being hated, then they're just stuck in their feelings.
They have a right to do that.
Yeah,
they have a right to be stuck in their feelings.
You're stuck
I
in your
see a
feelings.
statue. I see a statue. It hurts my feelings. Okay.
See, you're doing the same thing. That's
Okay.
what you call projecting because you do the same thing.
No, it's not projecting. It's not projecting at all.
It is.
Okay.
You say that's what they do, but that's what you do.
All right, all right.
People are less offended by the Confederate flag than they are the January.
How do you know? How do you know?
Well, look at them. I mean, Confederate flag.
How do you know?
That was an actual secession. That was an actual rebellion against the government, but not January 6th.
Oh, that was just interrupting the government from conducting government business. You're right.
No.
Yeah, go
We
ahead.
just wanted a free and fair election. That's all.
Try
Can we
again.
move on?
You're whining about an election. That was.
I got to move on. Let's talk about college football, or do you want to talk about the Phillies? We're going to talk about the NFL.
We're talking about the Gamecocks losing and the refs cheating them.
She didn't even say Gamecocks.
She said college football.
But she didn't say Gamecocks.
College football.
But that's a college football team.
She wasn't picking on you. She just said in general, college football, man.
That's
Don't
what
be
I'm
so
saying.
sensitive.
That's-
Aguna, don't be so
then my
sensitive.
question is,
I am.
Not
because
everything's
then
about
my
you and your
question
team.
is,
I'm passionate. I'm passionate. Gamecocks, they
Aguna, my
lost.
question
It was
is,
a field
you
goal.
went to, wait a minute, Aguna, wait a minute.
So did the
You went to
Eagles.
South Carolina State that weren't called the Gamecocks.
Yeah.
That's University of South Carolina. So why are you worried about University of South Carolina Gamecocks instead of the Bulldogs from South Carolina State?
I'm worried about them too. They lost too. It was a rough
God
week.
darn,
They
you ain't
lost.
doing nothing but losing, man.
Yeah,
You had a
one.
losing weekend. No wonder you're being so chippy.
Yeah, I know. I'm
We
pissed
won.
off.
Washington won, baby.
Somebody had to be y'all won the loser bowl. It was like somebody had to win that game. Everybody
Hey,
We're
we'll
talking
see.
NFL.
Hey,
We're
you
talking
lost the
college
loser bowl.
ball.
You lost to Kirk Cousins, man.
We're talking.
he
We're
played
not
better
talking
than
NFL
them
yet.
than
Didn't I just
y'all.
say? I said we're not talking NFL yet.
All right, talk
We
about
are
college.
talking college football. College football. Laguna.
Okay. Can I talk about the Gamecocks now?
Go
Yes,
Gamecocks.
please.
Yeah, they lost to LSU. It was actually a pretty good game, but until the refs took over and kind of blew it. But they had a chance at the end to tie it, and they missed a field goal. But it was, again, they came into Columbia, Williams-Brice, high-scoring game. LSU was down early, and, of course, LSU is ranked. So this was probably one of the closest games of the weekend. Now, also Georgia. Georgia barely beat Kentucky, which I was very surprised because, Gamecocks blew out Kentucky, beat Kentucky the week before. So, I think that college football is getting interesting. We're going to start getting into more of the conference play in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see how that works. But yeah,
there's no shame. There's no shame in your Gamecocks, man. There's no shame to go rank LSU team. There's no shame in that. They could have won.
they played hard. They were up by like 17 or something like that, but LSU came back. LSU's a good team. LSU's a good team. So it's SEC is just that tough type of a conference. So yeah.
That's a bad beat when you're up by 17, man. You're already celebrating. You popping the champagne bottles.
But it's the Gamecocks. We're used to that. You're used to coming back, just like the fact I'm surprised Nas isn't on here, but yeah, I'm waiting on him. I'm waiting to hear this.
Yeah, we're waiting on him so you can talk about the NFL. Let's
is
talk
he a
about the
Gamecock?
Phillies. Oh,
You just
is
want to
there
say
a
the
college
word.
team that you
Stop
want
saying
to
the
talk
word. You just like
about?
saying the word.
Steven, is there a college team you want to talk about?
Well, I like the Virginia teams, and UVA is doing pretty good. They're winning more than people would have thought they would, and Virginia Tech won their last game. So, we're doing okay. We're kind of hanging in there. We're not beating it down anybody. We're not beating up anybody, but generally the Virginia teams are doing okay. So, I do like Virginia Tech. I do root for UVA, depending on who they're playing. So it's been a good year so far. College football is so much different than it used to be. It's just become crazy, and who knows what it's going to lead from now. These guys are pros. Who would have thought that college players would be on a pro level? And everything has changed, and it's a whole new different thing. We're probably going to be on here talking about high school football before long because we're going to need something that's kind of genuine and real, because when you put money in anything, you corrupt it.
True. Let's move on to baseball. The Phillies and the Brewers are playing right now in Milwaukee. Game started at 7:40 p.m. Aguna, did you want to talk about Phillies and this running streak? They're going to the playoffs. They're going to put in a what do you call that? They're going to put in a lottery so that people can get to go to the playoffs, the Philly playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah, they lost to the Brewers last night. They were up 9 games on the Mets and the Braves in the they're going to go to the.
You say the Braves? Did you say the Braves?
They were up 9 games on the Mets and the Braves.
They beat the Braves.
They won 2 out of 3 when they played them. I don't think they played the series again. I think they play the Mets again in New York. Towards and the next, actually at the end of this week, they have a 4-game series against the Mets. So that's going to determine a lot of the playoff positions. Right now, the Phillies are the best team in baseball for now. We'll see what happens. We don't want to pull a Braves once you get to the playoffs and you lose in the first round. But they're looking pretty good right now. We'll see. I know the Phillies, they have a tendency when they're fighting for Red October. They have a tendency to choke. So I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed. But they're looking pretty good. They're up 9 games, maybe 8 games now because I think the Brewers beat them last night. So we'll see.
So they should win tonight.
Oh, well, I hope so.
Does anybody know the score? Does anybody have a score in front of them?
I don't know. What is the score? I think they had just started.
See.
They had just started the game when
it started 7:40. It's 1-0 Phillies.
That's it. They're gonna win. Go ahead, and if you can right now, put your money on Phillies because usually a team that scores first generally wins. Odds are. So I would put my money on Phillies, even a plus that they lost last night. So put your money on Phillies right now. Whatever you want.
Looks like the Mets are up on the Nationals. So, we got to keep an eye on these games because, we want to stay a couple of games ahead of the Nets. The Mets.
Yeah, y'all are so lucky in Philly, being Philly fans, to have so many teams that are doing so well, man. That's really great.
Yeah. And, I got to commend you, Steven. You always say something nice. If your team is losing, you're not like a sore loser. You always say something nice about the other team. And I want to commend you on that. You've always
that comes from maturity. When you get old, you're just like, all right, we're all friends. What the hell? Let's just have fun. But when I was younger, people would fight over it. People would fight over their teams. I was like, oh, man, it's cool. It's all right.
So I want to move on. We're going to wait until our guest comes on to talk about the NFL. So we're going to move on to politics, and I want to talk about how it's Constitution Day. Keith, you want to talk about what Constitution Day means?
Well,
go ahead, Keith. What does it mean?
Constitution it's simple. Constitution Day is the 17th of September. That's when the Constitution was signed. And I think that's a wonderful day. But we don't really celebrate it much like we should.
Yeah,
people don't even know the Constitution or what it's all about.
And, we celebrate it every day.
Yeah, I agree. I do. I celebrate it every day. But I mean, the country. I mean, we got all of these holidays. All these special days.
Hey, why isn't it a day off? Right. Why don't we get a day off? Yeah. You're right.
It can be a holiday in your heart.
And all of these holidays, they don't even necessarily represent the Constitution.
No.
I mean, not all of them. Not all of them. Some of them.
Yeah, they do. They do represent the Constitution. It's freedom. Freedom to have holidays.
So Constitution is when they signed the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia on September 17th. What year?
No, not the Declaration. The Declaration was that was before the Constitution. It's 1787, not 1776.
I look pretty dumb. I got it wrong.
Well, that's all right. I'm here to help educate. It's very simple. Very simple.
I want to go on to the exploding pagers purchased by Hezbollah in Lebanon today. Just a moment. Let me, I'm sorry. I have it already queued up. Okay, here it is. Let's start it again. Sorry about that. We're having technical difficulties. There we go.
Ministry saying hundreds of people have been injured in what appears to be a well-coordinated and highly sophisticated attack. Lebanese officials saying pager devices, they are, remember, devices that can only receive messages, have exploded. We're seeing videos in multiple locations in places like supermarkets in Lebanon of people looking down at what appears to be a pager and then an explosion breaking out. We're seeing Lebanese hospitals on high alert, Lebanon's health ministry launching a real fleet of ambulances to try and deal with the aftermath of this attack. And it comes at a really tense moment. We're seeing increasing tensions between Israel and Hezbollah, that militant group based in Lebanon, backed by Iran. One of the victims of this attack, according to Iranian state media, is Iran's ambassador to Lebanon. That's highly significant. And in recent days, we're seeing more reports from Israeli officials talking up the possibility of a wider conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. But at this stage, Israeli officials have not said anything about this series of explosions inside Lebanon, where apparently pager devices have detonated in a very coordinated and sophisticated way. Lebanon's health ministry saying hundreds of
no one's ever seen that before. Keith, do you want to talk about how that happened and what that could be based on the information given during that report? Or do you want me to kind of explain it? So
go ahead.
Which one? No, go ahead. I'll let it. Aguna already knows. I'll let him do it.
Well, yeah, this is a coordinated attack by the IDF. They hadn't claimed responsibility, but this is it's not a new technology. It's been around for a while, but basically, you can actually do it with our cell phones. You can send certain shock waves and stuff and make them explode. And because paging devices, if I'm not mistaken, are like cellular, so it's a different frequency or whatever, so you can make certain things happen. Or they may have somehow got into the supply chain of that particular pager and put some detonation in. You don't never know. But it was a coordinated attack. It was interesting. I mean, I get it. There's been tension between Israel and Lebanon or Hezbollah for a while. But the 2,700 people were impacted, and hopefully they were
9 died.
The correct targets and not like just civilians. Because again, you got to be careful, because what happens when you start ratcheting up these attacks, it just expands the conflict, right? And so eventually, you got to have an end in mind. If the end in mind is eradicating Hezbollah, which seems what Israel is trying to do, then you're dealing with Hamas, and you're also dealing with Iran. So it's going to be, you're going to end up expanding the conflict wider than what you probably want it to be, given that you need to have some type of negotiation. Again, what is the end state of this? We don't know.
So basically, Keith, and then Stephen can go. Hezbollah supporters or people who had something to do with Hezbollah received pagers. And all at one time, these pagers exploded. So if the people had the pager in their hand, it exploded in their hand. If the people
all the people who had pages were Hezbollah?
No, but they were saying the article implied that
it was like 2,700 people.
They were sympathetic to Hezbollah, and that's why they had those pagers.
Yeah, because they told them not to have phones. They said don't have cell phones because they can be tracked, but they can't track your pagers. So when the intelligence got that news, they said we're gonna rig these pagers. It was brilliant.
So probably all of them weren't Hezbollah 2,700. I don't know, and I don't know if anyone knows, and I don't know if it's written in the articles, but a good majority was, or they would not have done it.
Right.
So if they had the pager in their hand, if they had their pager clipped to their side, if they had the pager in their pocketbooks, they all exploded at the same time.
In their pants, they lost their genitals. They lost their genitals when they had them in their front pocket.
Oh my gosh, Stephen, you don't know.
No, they did. That's been reported. They lost their genitals, so they can't rape any Jews. Now they can't rape any. Now they can't rape any Jews.
You just wanted to talk about that.
Now they can't rape the Jews. No, this is documented. I'll show you. It's documented.
That's your opinion.
All the things.
No, it's documented.
Guess what?
Now they can't rape the Jews. It's not my opinion. When you don't have a penis, you can't rape Jewish babies.
I'll pull the article up right now, Stephen. Give it to me so I can pull it up so we can show our listeners.
Oh no, I'll have to get it. I don't have it.
Yeah,
because I'm not on a computer. I'm using my phone. I'm not on a computer, but I'll send it to you.
You got the dark web uplink. Go ahead and pull it up.
I don't have anything to do with the dark web.
Okay, sure.
Well, what more could be
all about genitals getting blown up?
What more could I say? What more could
do you think Israel was behind that? That is an attack on Hezbollah, who is connected to Iran. Do you think that was an attack by Israel?
It's impossible to. I have no idea. I'm just being honest. Todd might know.
What is the question? Just got back.
Okay, I don't have to ask you a question because whenever I ask you a question, you never answer
I don't
anyway.
know the topic.
He doesn't know
topic
anything. Look
is,
at him.
if
Look
you
at his
look at
eyes. He doesn't
look at
know
the
Oh
bottom
my
of
anything.
the
gosh.
screen,
Shut up,
exploding
Stephen, before I
pagers
go
in
across your
Lebanon.
face. Say that again.
Exploding pagers in Lebanon at all the same time. Was that backed by Israel to go against ultimately Iran?
I don't know. It would seem like it, but without proof, you see, and proof is a key word. Unlike Donald Trump and his boy toy, J.D. Vance, we don't just go on rumors and the dark web and and assumptions and conspiracy theories. We have to have proof. So until there's proof, I really don't know.
Okay, thank you. And you kept that short. See, that's how we do it, Cousin Todd. Great job.
Ma'am, why don't you try telling that to that nut job down the bottom?
No.
Now
Now let's go to last week's debate. We're going to start with Keith and Stephen, then Aguna, and then Cousin Todd. Let me play this clip. I'm going to stop it as it goes because I want to discuss the different issues that each presidential candidate said. So let's start.
Immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies because it's a really interesting thing to watch. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you.
She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what.
Okay, let's start with that.
spin that. Go ahead, spin that,
Let's
Stephen.
start with Keith.
Oh, okay.
Good
This is
spin.
gonna be
Spin it,
funny.
Keith.
Listeners, listen to this. Listen to this.
I can't wait.
Go ahead, Keith. Talk about the fallacy that former President Trump said about they're eating the dogs and the cats and the pets.
Well, you know, I'm going to use a line that Aguna is always citing.
Go ahead.
Here comes the pivot. Here comes the pivot.
Aguna is always accusing me of pivoting. So I just want to say this. It's interesting how she pivoted, and they're talking about, you know, and even Trump, she caused Trump, and he kind of fell for it. He kind of pivoted over to talking about dogs and all that, because there is a video of a woman who ate a cat alive, and she
Where was that?
You know, it was a video. I sent it out. I can't help it if you don't get the video, but I sent it.
It was debunked. Don't worry, we know about it.
But anyway, the police arrested her. She killed a cat alive and ate it. But here's the point.
She was from Haiti.
I think they should have been talking about issues.
Where was she from?
And Donald Trump went back to the issue of the border. I love it the way he did that, Stephen. He went right back to the border. And the fact that they're letting all these people
No,
in.
he didn't.
Okay, so, but then when he messed up, when he started talking about the dogs and cats that people are eating. All right, so I think it should have been better to leave that alone and stick with the border.
Okay, Keith, there's nothing here on my text messages about a woman eating cats.
There's police reports of people's taking their animals. There's police reports that
go ahead.
yeah,
Stephen,
they had a great big thing in a political, what do you mean, like a auditorium or whatever, but people came up over and over and over again and said the things that had been happening in their community because of the Haitians that are there. And this is why the media and the people on this show, everybody doesn't want people to know, because this is the fault of the administration that we have now, that we are overrun with people from other countries that do not speak the language, that's getting everything for free, that's living a life that we wish we could live. But they get everything. And there's people on this show that support that because they get so much money. They live in free, have free housing. They
Who are
get
you
free medical
talking
care.
about?
They send their kids
Who?
to school. They screw up
What's
our
the
kids that are
issue?
in school. This is
What's
what
the
the media doesn't want to talk about because it's government
Okay.
run. Because
Okay.
all of these people, 30 million people, 20 to 30 million people they've let into this country are ruining this country. And that's
Oh,
just
wow.
part of it. And all these towns, all these little
Okay,
tiny
thank
poor
you,
towns
Stephen.
are
You
being
gotta stop.
decimated by
Okay.
Okay, you gotta
Kamala
stop.
Harris and
Thank
Joe
you.
Biden's
No, you
Okay.
can't
policies,
say that.
Thank
Stacey.
You
you.
gotta,
And
Okay.
there's
Thank
you
you.
police
gotta stop.
We
reports
got to move
that
on.
say
You have to
people have
stop.
lost their.
We got to
So
move
don't
on.
come on here.
Hey,
Don't
get
act
You
him
have
like
to
you
up.
don't
stop.
know the
Get him up.
truth.
Get,
Don't act.
Okay,
Don't act like
Debunk.
you don't know
go
the
ahead,
truth.
Aguna.
Debunk.
Your turn.
Yeah, he got played like a fiddle right there. I mean, she baited him into the answer, and of course, he started talking about crowd size instead of the issue. Keith is trying to save him by saying he went back to the border, but the fact of the matter is, if you listen to this issue, it goes from illegal immigration to immigrant. Immigrants are not illegal; they are here because of a protected sanctuary status while they can seek citizenship. That's not illegal immigration. That is. Now, if you want to talk about straining resources and all of that, that's part of the conversation. But at the end of the day, if you talk to the people in Springfield, yes, the government is strapped for resources, but they're also saying the Haitians that are there, the migrant community that's there, is needed because they need it because of the job. So this is a complicated issue, but what's not being said is this bigotry nature against immigrants. Immigrants, look, this is a country of immigrants. Just because you don't like the type of immigrants that are coming here, I am a son of an immigrant. Yes, we use the resources, but we also contribute to the community, second, third generation. That's part of America. Just because you're afraid of being left behind and being replaced and it's coming out in this emotional anti-immigrant bullshit that you're saying on the show doesn't mean that this is not, it's not addressing the issue. And that's what's coming out because you're clouding illegal immigration with legal immigration, which is those people don't look like us and they're taking over this country. And that's
We are
all
just talking about illegal immigration. We're talking about illegal immigration.
The Haitians aren't there illegally. The Haitians aren't
They
there
are
illegally.
there illegally. They are there illegally in the country. Yes, they are. They are illegal.
They're
You're
not.
not telling the
not.
truth again. You are a
They're not.
liar. You're not telling the
Okay,
truth.
thank you.
They are
Okay,
illegal.
thank you.
They are
This is
illegal.
not your
Thank
show,
you.
Stephen. This is not your
Thank
show,
you,
Stephen.
Guna.
You're a liar. You're just a liar.
Stephen, it's not your show. Stacey,
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna
Just keep
you.
lying.
What is the truth?
Thank
Again,
you.
he has no
Todd,
vocabulary.
cousin Todd.
okay. Let me just say, let me say this,
all I can say.
Aguna. Let me say that, Stephen, you cannot embarrass Stacy. This is her show. And when she's telling you to stop because your time is up, she's moving on to the next person. You can't keep doing that and taking yourself off of mute. It's disrespectful. Now, those people are not illegals, but I know that you don't know that. I understand that. And Trump understands that. Donald Trump is taking advantage of you. And so is his boy toy, J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is perpetuating this story, even though he knows it's not true. And Stacey, do you have a clip of him saying that he's making this up?
Yep.
No, I don't have that clip, cousin
Okay.
Todd. I have
Okay.
the clip of the parent.
Okay. Well, J.D. Vance was on CNN this weekend saying that if he has to make up a story to get the media to pay attention, that's what he's going to do, he said. And so then the interviewer said, wait a minute, you just said you made this up. Yeah, if I make it, I mean, no. Then he tried to spin his words. He just made it up because the mayor said it's not true. The manager of the state said that's not true. The woman who put that out on social media said that's not true, and she's sorry that she did that.
I just
And
sent you a
so,
video, Stacy. You got it.
and
I
so,
texted it over to you.
Yeah.
I don't fall for that, Stacy. This is a
Don't
Trump
fall for the truth.
supporter
Don't fall for the
trying
truth.
to trying to overtalk me. So they're not illegals, whether Stephen and Keith know that or not. They've been invited there because they needed workers. And so they went there to get the jobs, and they got the jobs. And they've been there working for over 2 years.
And the
And
executive
so,
order that that was allowed them to be here was extended under Donald Trump.
No, he's
and
lying.
so,
Yeah, all he does is lie. All they do is lie.
okay.
This
All
is
right.
what
course
the
you don't
left wing
agree with
media
all
does.
of
This is what they do. All they
Okay.
do is lie,
So,
Stacy.
And
you see?
tell prove me wrong, man.
Believe their lies. Believe
He
these
invites
men's
you to
lies.
prove
That's
me
Okay,
all they
wrong.
listen,
do is
I
lie.
want to share the
Prove me
screen.
wrong.
So that what happened in Ohio, the reason why they did that in the first place, I think was based on this. And Todd, after this, please tell them what this is about. I'm trying to make this bigger if I can, but I
This
don't
is
think
a
I
Okay,
can make
just
it bigger.
play it. Long as we can hear, we can't see it. Just let us hear it. This is
Right.
the man whose son
He was
was
accidentally
killed.
killed by an immigrant from Haiti. Politicians Bernie Moreno, Chip Roy, J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump. They have spoken my son's name and used his death for political gain. This needs to stop now. Using Aiden as a political tool is, to say the least, reprehensible for any political purpose. They can vomit all the hate they want about illegal immigrants, the border crisis, and even untrue claims about fluffy pets being ravaged and eaten by community members. However, they are
Who is
not
the guy?
allowed, nor have they ever been allowed to mention Aiden Clark from Springfield, Ohio. I will listen to them one more time to hear their apologies. My son, Aiden Clark, was not murdered. He was accidentally killed by an immigrant from Haiti. Politicians Bernie Moreno, Chip Roy, J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump. They have spoken my son's name and used his death for political gain. This needs to stop now. Using Aiden as a political tool is, to say the least, reprehensible for any political purpose. They can vomit all the hate they want about illegal immigrants,
How many times are we
the
going to listen
border
to this?
crisis, and even untrue claims about
Truth
fluffy
hurts,
pets
doesn't it?
being ravaged
And
and
how
eaten by
many
community
times do we have
members.
to hear this? 20?
Show some
However, they are
respect
not
to the
allowed,
dead.
No,
nor
we've
have
already
they
heard
ever
it.
been
Do we
allowed
have
to
to keep
mention
hearing it?
Aiden Clark from Springfield,
Show
Ohio.
some respect.
I will
Let's
listen to
hear it
them one
another
more time
20
to hear their
times.
Show
apologies.
some respect.
My son,
No, let's just keep hearing it over and over.
Exactly. This is who
Go
you
He
ahead.
said,
are. This
one
is
of
who
it,
Stephen,
let's
you
play
are.
it
You
again.
can't
Let's
even
play
show
it. Let's play
Let
it
me
respect to a
5 more
father who
explain.
lost
times.
Let
his
me
child.
explain. Let me
Stephen,
You can't
explain
show
why
a
I
respect to
played
a
it
father
again.
who lost his child.
I
okay.
Let's
played.
keep playing it.
But
Excuse
shh.
me. Stop. I played it again because Todd was talking and he talked over the first part of that grieving father's speech. And I wanted
Stephen's not
everyone to
sensitive.
hear
I'm sure
that
if anybody
grieving
made a
father from
mistake
the
and
beginning.
thought, I'm sure if
That
somebody made a mistake that they regret making a mistake, that they thought the kid was murdered by a Haitian. Nobody's
They should
okay.
intentionally
apologize
trying
I'm
to
to
make
him.
political points on somebody's
Apologize to
death.
him. He asked
Okay.
for
okay.
Okay.
apology.
Excuse me. That's what his father. Okay. Todd,
Okay.
go ahead and say what
Okay.
the
All
story is,
right.
Todd.
All right. I want you to though. I want you, Stacy, because my people
Get
watch
off of
this
my back
show,
and just say the
and
story.
you can't allow him. You have to talk strong to him and say, "Hey, Stephen, stop it before I remove you from my show. You are embarrassing me and
You are
making me
so insecure,
seem like
Todd. You're
I
so
can't
insecure. It's not my
control
fault.
my
I didn't make you that
show."
way. I didn't make
You have to tell him that, Stacy. My people watch this show and they say she has no control over this crazy guy. Why does she allow him on the show? This is what I'm telling you weekly.
So
Anyway,
go ahead with the story, cousin Todd.
okay. This is a grieving man because his son got killed by a Haitian, and Donald Trump and his boy toy, J.D. Vance, are exploiting it. And this man said, can you imagine? I wish my son had gotten killed by a white man. Did you hear that? That way, my son could rest in peace.
No, he did not.
Oh my gosh.
He
Okay.
did.
Did he
say
really
that.
say that? He wished he
That's
had been
not
killed
funny.
by a
Can
white
you
man.
I have
shut
to
up?
find
Why
you
would
the
man?
Shut up!
Stop
Shut up!
talking.
Shut
Stop
up!
talking.
Shut up!
He
Stop
said
talking.
it.
He's an
The
idiot.
man?
When
Why
I
would a man
find,
say he
when I
wished his son
find
had
that,
been killed?
excuse me, you
Why-
heard what the man said about the politicians. I have to find the clip. I will for next week on what he said about that.
Yeah,
Finish
that
your
was
point,
right
Todd.
before that. That was right
You-
before that.
Yeah, but you don't have to prove anything to this idiot. If he is uneducated and he doesn't know how to research it and he's not a news person, forget it. I'll
Stacy,
get it.
can you
I'll
play
get
the
it.
one
I'll
I
show
sent
you.
you?
No, we
No,
cannot.
she's not going to play the one you sent. She's not going to play that one. It doesn't help their cause, Keith.
It doesn't
Stop
You
matter.
think I'm on whose cause, Stephen?
The left, the communist cause.
Mm.
Okay, you think I'm a
Boy.
communist? I'm
Yes,
not a
that's
communist.
what
I
you
don't think you're
said.
far from it, Stacy.
I don't.
Is that all you got?
I'm
Just
a
because people
proud
disagree with
American.
you, you got to label
That's
them.
all I need, baby.
Proud
That's all I
American.
need.
That's all
That's
you can
all I
say.
need.
So,
That's all you
Show
can
me
say.
some
I'm
proof.
for
That's all I need.
America.
Let me just
I'm
Show me
for
some
America.
proof.
It does, I don't
You're in your
care.
Yeah.
feelings.
I don't
You're
You
care
can be
if
for
you're
Amer-
Democrat. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're Green Party. I don't care if you're Socialist. I don't
I
care if
don't
you're
either.
Stephen and Keith. I'm for America.
I
Good.
care
All
if you're
America.
socialist and
Now,
communist because you're going to ruin the country.
You're not for America, Stephen. Just say it.
I'm for America, and America is not communist.
Yeah, right.
America is not
Okay,
communist like Kamala Harris.
He's gonna again.
Kamala
He's not,
Harris is your
here goes the
sister.
meltdown, viewers. Here goes the meltdown. Here comes the
yeah.
meltdown.
Is
I
your
don't know
sister,
why
Stacy.
they
Look at him. Look at him.
remove him from the show.
If she's
Go ahead, Cousin
communist, you're
Todd.
communist.
Look at him. Look at him.
Okay. So,
That's the only word he knows.
okay, now this is what I was saying. Whether Stephen knows this or not, and then Keith just laughs at Stephen. That's all he does. And Stephen is too stupid to know he's being laughed at.
No,
But nevertheless,
I love Brother
this-
Stephen, man.
I
Stephen
know
is
you
Make your
do.
point, Cousin Todd.
You have to shut the peanut gallery
I
up.
love
I
Brother Stephen.
can't.
So,
So
look,
you gotta make it or not.
you can't expel them from the show.
Go ahead,
And
Cousin
so
Todd.
now, this man said that whether these idiots know he said it or not, you have to do your research before coming on this show, or don't come to this show. Now, they were using his son as a political tool, and he's not stupid. He knows that. He said, "Do not mention my son's name." Oh, we're going to get the illegals. They're not illegal. They're in Ohio legally. And so
Under
Oh.
TPS.
but
Under
Donald Trump recognizes how dumb and ignorant his supporters are. So he takes advantage of you by saying the illegals are taking over. They're not. And
Okay,
the mayor
I gotta move on,
said
Todd. You
so.
can't keep talking. We're
And
running
the
out of time.
manager said so. And so unless Donald Trump says it, I don't believe it. That tells me you're in a cult.
Okay,
And
thank
this
you,
is
Todd. I gotta move
okay.
on. Welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and
Oh, there he
politics mix
is.
and mingle. What's your name and what's your comment? East
What's his name
Atlanta,
now?
Santa. Hold on, please. We're still talking about this debate. Since we're talking about Ohio, let me play this clip and have you
What's
all
his
quickly
What is his
respond.
name
Hold on,
now?
please.
What is his
I don't know.
disguise?
You have to read it.
Mr. Trump's false claim during the debate that Haitian immigrants are eating pets in Springfield, Ohio, not going away. That small city now the target of repeated bomb threats. And the woman behind the Facebook post who sparked those rumors is speaking out to NBC News. NBC's Maggie Vespa is in Chicago with more on all this. Maggie, good morning.
Hey, Laura, good morning. So for the last 2 days straight, officials in Springfield, Ohio have had to close government buildings as well as elementary and middle schools due to bomb threats, saying this chaos started after former President Trump at this week's debate repeated that viral and baseless conspiracy theory that Haitian immigrants are stealing and eating people's pets. And again, city officials have said that claim is patently false, adding there are zero reports or evidence of this happening. Former president, though, continuing to push that conspiracy theory on the campaign trail. Yesterday in California, vowing, if elected, to deport undocumented immigrants en masse, adding, quote, "We will do large deportations from Springfield, Ohio." Springfield officials saying Haitian immigrants are actually there legally, and President Biden is now also pushing back.
Community that's under attack in our country right now. Simply wrong. There's no place in America. This has to stop.
Meanwhile, ABC News tracked down a Springfield woman behind an early Facebook post credited with sparking this claim. And she now says the claim is false, adding she misinterpreted a neighbor's story about a missing cat and never meant, she said, to spark false, dangerous rumors about immigrants. And amid all of this, members of Springfield's Haitian community have told NBC News they are afraid for their lives.
Just rumors and hearsay.
NBC, they're a great source. Oh, yes, I believe in NBC. Absolutely,
Okay.
100%. Nobody does. Nobody believes that. There
Unless
are
Donald Trump says it, I don't
multiple
believe it.
multiple police reports.
That's called a cult.
Is it your
We
turn?
don't believe it
Hey,
in
Steven.
NBC,
No,
MSNBC,
Steven,
and CNN.
that's right. It's not your turn, Stephen. You got to
Well,
stop.
we don't believe
Thank you.
what you just showed. We don't
I'm gonna
believe it.
continue
You don't
on.
believe. Shut up.
We don't
continue
believe
on.
it.
Happening in our country, and it's a shame. The people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
But
television.
the people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice
We'll
President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme.
To weigh in on
She's
the
so
racial
stupid.
identity
She's
of your
so
opponent.
No, they don't, and I don't care.
Steven.
I don't care what she is.
Yes, she's
I
so
don't care.
stupid.
No, I mean, all I can say is I read where she was black that she
Listen,
put out, and
Stupid.
I'll say that. And then I read
Trump
that
is.
she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her.
I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race.
Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof.
Well, I think this is so rich coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been
All
found
fake.
liable for sexual
Fake.
assault, and his next
Fake.
big court appearance is in November at his own
Read on the
criminal
riot act.
sentencing.
All
She
of
was
it's
big on
fake.
defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute. I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please.
Yeah, shut up, Aguna.
Does that sound familiar?
Shut up, Aguna.
Wonk, 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 wonk.
Shut up, Aguna.
Don't get mad. Get educated.
No, I am educated.
Don't get
I am
mad. Get
educated. That's the problem. You
Read
don't
a
like an
book.
educated white. You don't like an educated white man. That's your problem.
I just don't like you. I just don't like you.
I'm educated. I'm very educated. So is Keith. We're educated. We know what the truth
That
is,
shows.
and nobody
That shows.
believes y'all's lies anymore.
That shows.
You cannot win unless you murder
Are
our
you
candidate.
triggered much?
The only
Are you
way you can win is to
What
murder.
has been a season
Are you
of
triggered much?
danger and heightened scrutiny. Only 9 weeks after gunfire erupted in Butler, Pennsylvania, wounding former President Trump, killing a rally goer, and injuring 2 others. The protective agency has been making changes and
Only way you
facing
can beat
hard
him is to kill
questions
him.
and consequences. Much of the focus for the July 13th assassination attempt centers on how that gunman, Thomas Crooks, was able to reach a rooftop with a line of sight fewer than 150 yards from Mr. Trump, but outside the protected perimeter. The security failure forced the resignation of then Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle. Later, the acting director acknowledged to lawmakers the lapses were unacceptable.
What I saw made me ashamed.
Another key issue, lack of coordinated communications with other law enforcement.
It was on
working that day.
purpose.
There was clearly
tried
radio
to kill him.
transmissions that may have happened on that local radio net that we did not have.
A bipartisan congressional task force deployed to Butler in the weeks after the shooting.
We're going to conduct a full, thorough, and robust investigation.
Among the changes, additional agents have been assigned to the former president's protection. Ballistic glass is being used at certain outdoor events for Mr. Trump and Vice President Harris. But today's events happened around a weekend golf game, a stark reminder that any public exposure can put national leaders at risk.
Ain't nobody trying to kill Harris.
What do we do about it, Keith? The President of the United States, Joe Biden, has asked that former President Trump get the same Secret Service protection as he gets.
I
What
say,
do we do about keeping, excuse me, what do we do about keeping our presidential nominees and our president and other people safe?
well, I say go to the private sector for protection, because it's interesting that Florida Governor DeSantis actually said he will not turn the investigation over to the FBI. They wanted to do the investigation on that last shooting, but DeSantis said no way, because they were actually police that arrested that guy, not the Secret Service, not the FBI. So that was local.
Secret Service aren't supposed to arrest them. That's their
well,
jurisdiction.
Yeah, I know that. That's right.
Secret Service don't arrest people; they
go
kill
with
people.
I would say go with the local. I would say that he should get private security. Private security would do much better, because those guys. I used to
because they're not part of the
Thank you.
administration. They're not part of the administration that wants to kill him.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Keith. Thank you. Now,
one more
Stephen.
thing.
Yeah, we have an administration that wants Donald Trump to die.
I just say you notice how I didn't get to say this, but just real quickly, I just want you guys to observe that the last segment, when we talked about the debate, notice how Kamala Harris, and Stephen, you'll notice this. I know you'll see it. Kamala never talked about the policy. She only directed herself to attack
Communist.
Yeah, and Trump should have.
Yeah, because it's a debate, and if you want to be the leader of the free world, you should be able to debate some.
He should have said he should have avoided that.
Okay, thank you, Keith.
Yeah, he's not a good debater.
Now I'm going to ask you a question, Stephen, and you've got to stop interrupting.
Well, go ahead and ask me your question. You look like Lisa Boneta. You look like Lisa Boneta tonight, Stacey. Your hair looks really cool.
You're interrupting while she's telling you not to interrupt.
No. I'm just saying. Go ahead with the question. I don't need any fluff. Thank you.
You need help.
No, I don't need any fluff, me fat boy.
Stephen, stop interrupting me. Stop interrupting other people. When I ask you to talk. And
okay. What do you want? I mean, we can go through all this. You can just ask me the question.
Shut up.
So my question is based on what Keith said, which is that
he knows what Keith said.
And other people should go private. My question is the same thing actually Guna asked. Who's going to pay for it?
We have an administration right now that needs to take Donald Trump out because they can't beat him to vote. They can't beat him legitimately. They can't beat him legitimately. They have to kill him. That's why these things keep happening. That's why this has happened twice within a couple months, because they have to kill him because they can't beat him. They had to essentially kill him a few years ago when he ran for president. They can't beat him legitimately. They got to lie, cheat, steal, or murder. Because shut up. 80% of the country does not like the policies of the Communist Party. So they can't win legitimately. They have to kill him. They have to put him in jail. This is what's wrong with you
Raise that
people.
blood pressure.
This is what's wrong with you. They have to kill him, and y'all are complicit with that. You're like, okay, they can kill him because we're communists. We're communists. We don't care. This is what we want. We can't have a real election. You won't let us have a real election, Stacy, Todd, Nasty, or Guna. You have to kill my freaking president. So all of y'all are full of crap. All of y'all are full of crap. There's no reason. Nobody's trying to kill Kamala. People on our side, we got a Bible in our hand. We have a flag in our hand. We have the Constitution in our hand. We're not trying to kill you. Can you stop trying to kill my damn president? Stop trying to kill my president. We can't trust. We cannot trust the people. Keith, you're right. We can't trust the people around the president. Because insecurity will not help him because that son of a bitch was lying there for 12 hours waiting for Donald Trump. Why didn't they sweep the area? Why didn't they sweep the area? Y'all are okay with it because y'all don't care about democracy. You don't care about the public. You care about communism. You care about communism. That's all it is, Keith. We know what the truth is.
Okay, let him calm down. Let him calm down.
Yeah, I mean, give him some water or something. He may need some medical attention, Stacy. He may need some medical attention. Look, he's still talking.
Ain't nobody shooting.
Okay, thank you.
Ain't nobody shooting at nobody.
Look at his face.
Stop shooting at Donald Trump.
Okay, everyone, please know that was Stephen's opinion. It didn't represent Sporlitiks. That's strictly his opinion.
No, and it was drug influence. This is why the fentanyl crisis in this country.
You don't know if that was drug influence, Aguna.
Did you see his face?
Yes.
Did you see the rage?
It was drug influence.
He was yelling. He was yelling at the camera.
And then Keith is laughing at him.
What does this do? Okay, all right.
And
listeners,
Keith is laughing at his boy toy.
Go.
And Todd.
My God.
You two are it's so funny. Aguna and Todd are the instigators. They throw the rocks and then they hide their hands and then they come back here and they don't stop talking. Stop talking for me to say my point. He obviously, you don't know if he was influenced by any drugs. You have no proof of that. You don't know that. So you can't stop talking while I'm talking. Didn't you tell him to do that? And now you're talking over me?
I'm talking with you.
Okay, don't talk with me. As I was saying, no one said he was on drugs. That's your opinion. I don't know, and I don't believe he's on drugs. I believe he passionately believes those things he's saying.
I'm concerned about it.
Those are his opinions. And now we're going to move on.
Drugs,
you gotta go. Stop, Todd.
That was a shame.
You're no different.
That's a whole different. That's Now I just want to say to our listener.
Aguna, you have 1 minute or less to say what is the problem with the Secret Service and what they can do to fix it. And don't bring up anything Stephen said. Just say what you believe needs to be done.
No, you can't.
No, the fact. So we need to ask ourselves why this is happening, right? And there's been some very inflammatory rhetoric going on in this campaign trail. And if you look at some of the areas where the bottom line of it is the Secret Service can't do it all, right? And no one's asking why was he on the golf course to begin with. The fact that the Secret Service had complained for months and months about how difficult it is to protect Donald Trump because he goes to these particular areas. Look at Mar-a-Lago. You talk about, it's not a skiff down there. That's why the classified documents case was so big, because you can't secure certain areas. It's a resort. This golf course is a public golf course. The members can still go there even if Trump is there. They don't block off the streets. It's very accessible to multiple highways where, again, he's not a sitting president. So he doesn't have the same level of Secret Service as a sitting president would. He has some Secret Service, but again, Secret Service is just to protect him. the local law enforcement. And Keith said, yeah, well, local law enforcement, yeah, it's their jurisdiction to do so. The Secret
You didn't
Service has
give a
no
solution.
jurisdiction in that
Okay,
area.
thank you, Aguna.
So,
You
but the
didn't give
bottom
one
line of it is,
solution.
to answer your question, Stacy, the Secret Service, maybe they can add more to the detail, but at the end of the day, you also have to limit the movement of the target so you're not in areas. Kamala's not on the golf course running around in those particular areas where you need to have a very big net of surveillance in
Okay,
order
thank
to
you.
really have the area secure.
Okay, thank you.
And
East,
she's the
what is
vice
that?
president.
East Atlanta, Santa?
Sitting
Your
vice
comment
president.
about the Secret Service
Well,
and what
I
they need to
mean,
do.
the first thing would be compliance. So when you have a candidate who's protected by Secret Service, and we have an event like we did in Ohio, or yeah, I think it was Ohio. You have an event like that, and then afterwards, you won't work with medical professionals. You won't give your medical charts and tell them, where you hurt, what actually happened, or anything like that. You avoid all conversation about the details of your medical condition. And in the midst of an assassination attempt, you stand up, raise your arm, and chant something, making yourself visible to another possible shooter or anything else.
Right. Yeah.
So when you have moments like that where somebody who doesn't want to listen to more wise counsel, after a while, I mean, you're kind of on your own. But more than anything, this is an FBI, I would say, work on right-wing extremists, because the two shooters have proven to be former Trump supporters, former Republicans, people who talk about extreme right-wing things like we hear on this show sometimes, to where they're so far outside of mainstream thought that they've created an echo chamber where they're the good guys and everybody else is the bad guys. Well, I mean, that's fertile ground for this kind of thing that we're seeing. So I don't know if this is something where you throw it in the Secret Service's lap and say, hey, what's going on? And the other part is, and we've learned this about cults and different people who've been brainwashed, when people start to come out of that, the reaction is really aggressive. And you can see some people who've lost friends and family members based on their ideas and opinions and pontificating on the MAGA stuff. And now, all these years later, they turn out and find out that they've been getting conned the whole time. He's been taking the money off of their debit card every month to pay his legal fees. And some of those people are going to react in a violent manner. And I think that's what we're seeing, to where he says a rumor at the debate about Haitian immigrants. And then next thing you know, they're getting bomb threats at the school. The people don't feel safe in the area. So I think this is something where we don't have to both sides this issue. We just need to speak to that particular candidate who's running a fascist type of ideology, and you see what comes with it. This is how fascism works.
Cousin Todd.
Yeah, I don't think it's Secret Service fault when you have somebody who's spouting this kind of sick rhetoric over and over again. Hate them. It's them. They're taking your jobs. Well, this is just chickens coming home to roost. When you have white boys shooting at their hero. Now, of course, Stephen said, I'm a never Trumper and Trump's a dictator, but then he flip-flops back and forth. You don't know what's coming out of his mouth next. But these are people who were Trump supporters, like this guy who just got arrested in Florida. He voted for Trump in 2016. And the other guy, and I think that was Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken, he was looking for anybody to shoot. He was just mentally, he had looked up Democrats and Republicans. So this kind of person, or these kinds of people, they're mentally unstable. And this is what Trump does. You saw Stephen just go crazy. And so he reaches these people. And they're like in a cult, like he was, I forget your name, was saying.
Isolano Sana.
Okay. And so if anyone else had done any of these things that Trump had done, they'd be out of the race. When David Duke is supporting you, and of course, I don't know who that is all of a sudden. And Trump, of course, knows who David Duke is, and he wants people like that to support him. When his boy toy, J.D. Vance, is perpetuating a lie and knows he's perpetuating it and said so.
Okay, thank you. I have to stop you there. You can do your speech at the end of the show. Thank you. I got to move on. I want to move on. We talked about the Secret Service. We talked about former President Trump. Now I want to talk about the Federal Reserve and how they're set to cut U.S. interest rates for the first time since the pandemic. My question is, is that true? Because I thought they did put those rates on hold at some point, but I need our financial whiz kids on here to clarify that. So let's start with Aguna and then East Atlanta, Santa, and then Cousin Todd.
Atlanta,
Aguna, let me
Santa.
share my screen. Because this is something that Keith had a question to Aguna about. So go ahead, Aguna.
Yeah, so this is something they've been looking at for a while to cut the rate. I don't know if it's going to be 0.25% or 0.5%, but this is one of the mechanisms that they use to stave off inflation and to slow down or speed up the economy. Now, people forget that going back to the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic, economists were advising, what to do with the economy. Do you continue to pump stimulus in it and run the risk of inflation, or do you don't do anything, don't stimulate the economy, let the chips fall where they may, and run the risk of a recession? And the reason why they decided to do more stimulus is because they have mechanisms such as the rate cut to stave off inflation if necessary. Now, there's a pain point there because at the end of the day, we're playing Monday morning quarterback and we're like, oh, inflation is going up and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, we were running the risk of a stagnating economy, and people wanted the stimulus. But now, the Republicans were like, okay, now, the inflation. So the Fed was going to do this before, but they didn't want to be political about it. So they kind of waited until this third quarter. And so now they're going to do it. And what does this do? This again is based on interest rates on credit cards to your mortgages. And mortgages are actually dropping anyway in anticipation of this rate cut, because now companies can go off and they can borrow money at lower rates and they can invest and do capital and do things like that. But the Fed is very kind of leery about doing this, especially in the election time, because again, they don't want to seem political, but at the end of the day, it is political. And you're going to see a bump in the economy. And as a result, housing, people are going to start buying houses again. People are going to start refinancing and things like that. But they don't want to do it too fast because, again, wages are going up, but also things are going up more in cost. Now, the other part of this, which makes it a little bit more complicated, is shrinkage and some of the other things as it relates to the supply chain. People act like it's either or. It's not only was the supply chain, but it was also stimulus in the economy versus slow growth and things like that. So it was a myriad of things, as well as oil prices that come into the reason why inflation was doing the way it was doing. But this is the one mechanism that the Fed has to kind of stave off that growth. And that's why they chose to roll the dice and actually, stimulate the economy when they did. And then now they're trying to slow inflation, which I think inflation went from 9% down to about 2% growth.
So let me ask East Atlanta Santa, didn't they already, because I thought Jerome Powell had already come on and said that they were, going to slow everything down by raising the interest rates, but that's different than the Fed rate cuts.
Well, I'll put it to you like this. We're in uncharted waters right now. When they did this previously, the old thinking was, okay, you lower the rates, you raise unemployment, you kind of slow down an economy that's heating up. Problem was they cut the rates, but unemployed. We didn't have this huge swell of people all of a sudden being unemployed. People actually were more employed because you got to include the gig economy. So it didn't do what it was supposed to do the first time. And ultimately, the Fed, I mean, they only have two like crude tools to try to steer the economy the best way they can. None of this stuff is like they're just overseers of the economy and control everything. They can either lower or raise the price of money. That is
Right.
all they can do at the end of the day. So at this point, they're going to give it a shot. If it works, we get a jolt in the arm of the economy and things move forward better. If it doesn't, then we just see stagnation and we have to come up with something else in 6 months, 6 months from now. But this is not something that you need to be worried about, like, oh no, the Fed is doing this. I would say this. The people on Wall Street are very concerned and very excited about this. Regular 9-to-5 Joes and Janes in America, this is just going to be like a passing headline that you see and won't know too much about it till weeks from now.
Okay, so thank you, Cousin Todd. If you look at the screen, you see the Fed, it says the Fed is expected to kick off a rate cutting cycle to bring down borrowing costs from their highest levels in more than 2 decades. And it shows you over on the left, the Y axis, you see it's 5% in 1971, and then it goes all the way over to 2024, where it's a little above 5%. Go ahead, Cousin Todd.
Well, this will allow people the opportunity to get loans for houses and cars without killing themselves. And so it's a good thing. And the Fed does this. This is not like anything new, but it helps with the stock market, and it also helps with crypto for those people who are into crypto. And I know our caller doesn't believe in that crypto stuff, but people make a lot of money when these kinds of things happen. Now, if you watch crypto in the next month, you're going to see it spike. We'll be in, well, I won't get into too much of that, but
well,
bear market and a bull market, and we're in a bull market now, and you're going to see prices start to go up.
Well, that's the thing about crypto, because Donald Trump wants to deregulate crypto, right? And what that's going to do is that's going to stimulate the crypto economy. It's also probably going to devalue the dollar. And so if you're investing in crypto, it's great news for you, because they're taking the federal government out of regulating crypto. But at the same time, the Fed may not want to do that, because again, the dollar is the world currency right now.
May not. There's no chance in hell.
No, they're not going to. But Donald Trump is not going to win anyway, so he's not going to win the election. So none of that is going to happen.
Okay, all right.
It's just that
whether he wins or loses, you can't do that. The United States whole economy is based on the pricing of the dollar. The idea that you would put that in risk. Okay, I'll give you a prime example. Y'all remember a couple years ago, Mark Zuckerberg said he was going to come up with Lira. It was going to be a Facebook currency that people could pay for and use within the site. And the Fed said, wait a minute, people are going to give you US dollars and you're going to give them fake Facebook money, and then they're going to spend that Facebook money and you're going to keep those. The hell you are. And we didn't hear about that Lira exchange anymore. They moved on to Meta and all these other different ideas, but they left that one alone. You know why? Because once you start talking about affecting the price of the US dollar, which I'm talking about everything we do as an economy, from exports to imports, everything is based on the idea of the dollar being priced highly. Matter of fact, China measures their own currency by the idea of how high the US currency is and just puts theirs a little bit below that because they make their money on exports. Once you do that, you can't be the import economy. Once you lose that dollar, that solid dollar as the reserve currency for the world.
Well, and that's why
win or lose, it's not going to happen. But go ahead.
Well, that's why if a Trump wins and it's an Elon Musk in charge of the Federal Reserve or whatever on his cabinet, and you start talking about deregulating crypto and allowing it to kind of challenge the dollar when it comes to that, again, I get it. The Fed is going to step in and do what it has to do. But at the end of the day, you're talking about basically you're on the edge of a cyber robber baron age. Okay. So it's like almost so I agree. I understand what you're saying, Nas, but at the end of the day, these guys, and Elon Musk didn't get to become an Elon Musk by following the rules. You make
Yeah,
his
he
own
got
rules.
it by
This is
government
why
grants,
this is the reason why the guys are doing
and
it.
loans. And those same government granted loans means the State Department people will be coming to talk to Elon. Like, look, brother, you want to do what? That's when you meet the real deep state. Okay, that's all I'll say.
But okay,
All right.
who's
So let me
those
show
State
you this.
Department people? Let me just say this, Stacey. Those State Department people are going to be one of the 80,000 people that Trump lays off, and as part of this transition to government. Because again, remember,
and this is
part
why
of
that
this is
stuff
to
is just
break up the
promises,
institutions
Aguna.
of.
Right.
Is it what now?
Yeah, and that's why all of this stuff is just non-feasible. It can't be done with us as the number one Goliath economically in the globe. If you want to do this and drop us down a peg or two, because that's what would happen.
That's
But
what
I'm
would
just
happen.
saying
They want to
the
happen.
power and the money
That's
in
what
this
they want to
country
happen.
will not allow them to do that. There's only so much
Okay.
raiding the piggy bank you can do before they stop.
Okay, thank you. Let me show you this screen. Bull versus bear. Investopedia.com says a bull market is a market that is on the rise and where the economy is sound. A bear market exists in an economy that is receding, where most stocks are declining in value.
Right.
And for
Which
all the
is what
listeners, Investopedia is a really good website to kind of pick up on terms and learn things. And this stuff is not as intimidating as you think it is. Sorry, cousin Todd.
No, that's okay. Because I was going to just talk about the bear market and the bull market, which she just explained. Which I was saying all that to say, you're going to see crypto climb for those of you who are in crypto. And Nas, I'm going to talk to you about crypto because you can get
All
in
right,
and
another
get out.
time. We don't have time for that.
I know we're not talking about it now, but I'm just saying you can get in and get out at specific times and gain. So that's what I'm saying.
All right.
I get
So we're going to do our round table.
I'm
and during our
Nigerian.
round
I know a
table-
scam when I hear it. I know a scam when I hear it, cousin Todd. That's why I
Really?
have my Nigerian jersey on.
I'm going to tell you about it too, and I bet you give me 1,000. Well, not me, but I bet you'll put $1,000 in it. I bet you.
Okay, so let's do our round table. We're out of time. We're going to start with Keith, then East Atlanta Santa.
East
then,
Atlanta Santa. No T.
Huh?
East Atlanta. East Atlanta Santa. It's like 3 words.
East Atlanta Santa, and then Aguna, then Cousin Todd. So what I want each of you to discuss is first, Keith, you can discuss your opinion, whatever you'd like to talk to. What I would like to talk about how the Senate did not pass today that IVF bill that Senator Tammy Duckworth put in, especially since President Trump said that he is for IVF. The Republicans voted against it. The Republicans blocked the Senate's Democrats' IVF bill. So Keith, I want you
And
to
so,
talk
how do
about
they
that.
think they're going to win the election when you have women who are dependent on that to have children, and they're after people with the abortion thing? How do they?
Okay, you can't. Okay, excuse me, Stephen. Stephen, you can't interrupt me, Stephen. I'm talking, Stephen. Don't interrupt me. As I was saying, then I want.
Stephen can do that.
Yes, exactly. Then I want East
Get him,
Atlanta
Todd.
Santa to talk about the Monday Night Football, Aguna to talk about Monday Night Football, and then Cousin Todd, you can do your speech. So,
do I have to? All right, go ahead.
Keith, you want to talk about why the Senate Republicans, and I'm going to put it back on the screen, why the Senate Republicans blocked the IVF bill today. Republicans on Tuesday blocked a bill that would have created a right to access in vitro fertilization, which President Trump said he was for, treatments, and mandated that insurance plans cover the practice, deriding the vote as a political ploy. Senators voted against advancing the bill 51-44, marking the second time Democrats have sought to put Republicans on the record on this issue. Keith.
He has no clue.
Oh, he's gone.
Yes.
Anyone want to talk about
He
that?
deliberately did that. Because his
Anybody want to
lover,
talk about that?
his lover left. So you know what? I'm getting out of here too.
Man.
Oh, here, he's back. He's back. Now he
Ah,
proved you wrong, Cousin Todd. Do you want to talk about why the Senate blocked that bill, Keith, in a
Uh,
51 to 44 vote?
I'd
well, to
rather
be
talk
honest
about
with
the
you,
floor.
I cannot answer for the Republicans in Congress. I no longer can. I don't know what they do and why they do it. I don't know. So I have to be honest with you. I just don't know. I'm not going to lie.
they do what
And
Trump
these
wants them to do.
guys, they're unpredictable. I don't know. We have rhinos in Congress too. So
No,
I don't
no,
know.
no,
You know,
no. They did what Donald Trump wanted them to do.
you think so?
Okay.
Oh
Thank
my
you,
gosh.
Stephen.
Donald Trump runs the Republican Party, and I think you know that.
I don't know
Okay,
that.
Stephen, you can't enter. You
You
can't
can't,
take Stephen's spot now that he's
and you
gone, Cousin
cannot,
Todd.
and you can't say that for sure. You can't say that for a fact.
Yes.
You just put it
Remember,
out
they
there. You're like
blocked the
media.
bill. Okay. I
No,
can't
you're
with
like the
you.
media. You just make a report, and you have no proof that he actually
Okay,
said
thank
that.
you. Thank you, Keith. Is there anything else you want to say real quickly?
Well, I was just going to say I sent something that Aguna should take a look at and explain. I mean, I respect Aguna's knowledge of financial matters, and I wanted to know
That's
what
what
he
we were
thought.
talking about.
No,
That's
no,
what we
no,
were talking about.
no, it wasn't. I sent you something about tariffs, and there was a statement about tariffs. But that's okay. We'll do it another time.
I'm not a
Tariffs
big
are
fan. I'm not a big fan
Well,
of
we can talk
tariffs.
about. I did. I sent that to you earlier today, Aguna. Right? Check your text messages.
I'm not sure, but I'm on the record. I'm not a big fan of tariffs. So I don't like the Biden tariffs. I didn't like the Trump tariffs. I believe in free market. Let's compete in that. Let the American consumer,
East Atlanta Santa, it's your turn to grovel because it's your turn to brag.
Jesus Christ. Here we
I
go.
mean, look, now, first of all, when you get a man like Captain Kirk Cousins, who has been through the fire, you know what I mean? He's been from one place to another, learning this quarterback craft. He's teaching the young man down there in Atlanta how to be a quarterback. And, you can go back and watch the broadcast because I swear I saw them show him on camera, go to Michael Penix and say, look, this is how you do it, rookie. And then he went out there and put together that beautiful drive. I mean, ball just hitting receivers right in the hand. Boom, boom, boom. No pass rush from the Philadelphia Eagles. At a certain point, the lack of resistance was kind of disappointing. We wanted you guys to play harder. But you're considered an NFC contender. We were looked at as the bottom of the barrel. But we go into your house and beat you while Kirk Cousins is still hurt. He's limping around. We're in shotgun because he can't move like he normally can. I thought you guys would blitz him, but it appears you guys were scared of blitzing Kirk Cousins because you know his reputation. So, yeah, man, what I take away from this game is Jalen Hurts wants that man fired. The Philadelphia defense is not that good. Their offense is really good. Saquon Barkley is as good as advertised still. You definitely, without A.J. Brown, their receiving core looks totally different as far as the spacing they get on the field. Just being serious now. When A.J. comes back, Philly will be fine offensively. Defensively, there are some problems there that have to be solved, though. There's some issues because Atlanta is not a great team. And for them to come in your house, come in your trap, take your trap, as the young kids would say, that's kind of embarrassing. So salute to the Atlanta Falcons. The Dirty Birds got it done, made the city of Philly cry. And
Not the first time. We're used to crying in Philly. But
seriously, how does it feel?
I really feel embarrassed. I mean, it was a combination of bad play calling, poor execution. Saquon catches that 3rd and 3.
Did it hurt though? That's what I'm saying. Did it hurt?
I mean, not really. I mean, because again, nobody's really paying y'all no attention like that. I mean, it bothered us because we know that y'all are a bad team. We lose to a bad team, it's going to bother you. But at the end of the day, we know you know the Falcons. You know your Dirty Birds.
Steven, you don't have to overtalk me.
I'm just saying you asked me a question. Let me answer. I'm not a Steven. I'm trying to answer your question. Oh, go ahead. You can talk. Go ahead. Go ahead and growl.
Amongst all that Philly traffic, did you hey, I probably shouldn't have went to this game. I probably should have stayed at home for this.
Absolutely
Like,
not.
did you feel like you wasted your money going to this
No,
game?
because I'm not a
buying
Falcon fan.
expensive hot dogs. Like,
see, this is what you call projecting. To our viewers, this is what you call projecting. He's trying to project Atlanta sentiments on Eagles fans. We'll go there and we'll cuss out our team, win, lose, draw, whatever. We'll still be bitter fans. All right. Atlanta fans are fair weather fans. So the Atlanta fans the few that decided to come
the only
were
way
shocked.
to be a fan.
You were shocked. All of you guys were shocked. Don't act like you were over there. Oh, okay, yeah, you won the game.
Be a fan, baby. It's all
Hey, look,
upside. When
you
we're good,
know.
I show up. When we're bad, I disappear.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So we're not like that.
Fan.
We're gonna roll. We're gonna ride or die and talk trash about the team along the way. And yeah, Sirianni made some stupid play calls. I mean, he didn't take the points in that first drive when he couldn't kick the field goal. And then that Saquon 3rd and 3, you throw it to Saquon. He's a running back. Give him the ball in a run. He will take 40 seconds off the clock. All right. Hell, you could even have gone for it on 4th down and not kick the field goal. Because even if you wouldn't have gotten it, it was still taking, it would have been 40 seconds to drive all the way down the field with no timeouts. Kirk Cousins going out the end zone. Again, you couldn't stop him on the last drive. So at least we would have had at least taken some time off the clock. At the end of the day, it's week 2. So, yeah, it bothers me because it may come back to haunt us later on when we're trying to, but our division is so weak and also so, underperforming and underwhelming this year. 9-10 wins may just win it. So, yeah, congratulations to the Falcons. Y'all needed it more than us. Y'all needed it more than us. But you know your team. You know your team ain't going nowhere this year. So you might as well take the wins while you can because they ain't going to be alive.
So if we beat y'all, what did that make y'all?
It makes y'all
have
lucky.
expectations. We don't have expectations. Our heart will not be broken. But yours?
We know.
Oh, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to enjoy the tears all season.
Really? And look.
Okay, thank you.
Remember who you are. I'm just going to say
time.
this, Stacey. Remember who you are. 28-3. Remember who you are.
Cousin Todd. It's time for Cousin Todd's speech. Everybody go to sleep and I'll let you know when
here he
goes.
No, I'm not doing that speech because Aguna
apology
took way too long doing this thing.
Serena.
And now it's almost midnight. So I'm not going to do that. But what I want to do is I want to play a Trump supporter. This is a Trump supporter. Put the camera on Keith first and then back to me. That's a Trump supporter. Okay, now here I am. Come back to me. You know what, guys? I'm going to be very honest with you. They're eating the dogs and cats over in Ohio, and they really should get rid of those guys. They should send them back to, they're illegal, so they should send them back to Mexico where they came from. And that's I'm a Trump supporter. And I'm going to be very honest with you. They have no business here. America first.
Okay, thank you. To
Sure.
our first responders in our communities, you make our lives livable. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the women and men of the U.S. military for all that you do in sacrificing your lives so that we are free to say whatever we choose to. We are forever indebted to our military. On behalf of Aguna, the voice of reason, I finally got it right?
Right. What happened to Stephen? Go call A. You better get him.
Constitutional conservative. On Constitution Day. Stephen, the independent thinker.
Stacey, I'm a man.
East Atlanta, Santa.
Hey.
And my cousin Todd.
Now, Stacey's going to call and find out what happened with
I'm not done.
Stephen.
I'm not done, Stephen.
I'm just telling
Stephen,
you.
stop talking, Stephen. Stop talking, Stephen.
And
I'm
he's
Stacey
going to kill you
Johnson.
for saying this.
I'm Stacey Johnson. Let's keep this conversation going on YouTube at Sporlitiks. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Check us out on Stephanie Stallworth's The Flow TelevisionNetwork.com. Check us out on X at Sporlitiks. Check us out on TikTok at Sporlitiks.com at TikTok. And check us out on Instagram at Sporlitiks and Twitch. Thank you for joining us. We will see you. I don't know what Todd's looking into the camera like that. We will see you next week. Good night.
Somebody's trying to find their dealer right now. I think they didn't answer the first call. They're looking for an ultimate dealer. That's how it goes, man. You know, the meth trade is a rough trade, brother. You know?
Hey, man, I don't know what Steven had today, but Stacey, I blame you for that.
People are saying it's drugs. I'm not saying it's drugs. People are saying that. People are saying that. I didn't say it.
When he doesn't have his medication and he comes on the show, he just goes ballistic. And now that stuff about, I mean,
Now,
we
that's
can't even
your
have a
opinion.
conversation.
We don't know what he takes and what he doesn't take, Aguna. That's strictly your opinion. You don't know that for sure. You don't live in his house. You know.
Thank God for that.
You can't say that.
He didn't say he knew that for sure. He said people are saying.
I do hope he's okay, but I mean, the fact that he was yelling at the camera and doing this and thinking that because he's doing this, that somehow projects his voice even more. That is,
I don't need a microphone.
crazy.
I use my hands to project my voice.
And he was doing all kind of stuff, and that's schizophrenic, crazy behavior.
That is, but his boyfriend was laughing at him.
And he was egging him on. And Keith, look, you know, I know Steven is your useful idiot. You're using him as a pawn to be the voice of anger.
Just like Trump is using him.
Not right. I mean, this is a show. So you can't just yell, you're a liar. You're always lying.
That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Conversation.
You're evil. You're evil.
Hey, you know
But you guys are lying.
Okay, what are we lying about?
No, Aguna, don't fall for the trick.
That's what I'm saying. All they do is
hold on. Before we do too much of this, somebody asked about tariffs earlier. Aguna, Todd, this is a good time for us to explain tariffs for the listeners out there so they understand what type of calamity this is that this man is proposing. Like, we should lay that out right now instead of discussing somebody else's drug habit.
Okay, I'll go first.
Thank you, Nas. Thank you,
I'll
Nas.
go first.
It's a tax.
When
It's a tax.
That's right, on another country, so that when they ship their stuff here,
On imports,
they have to raise the price. So when you go to Walmart or Target, what you used to buy for $19.99 is now $29.99 because they have to shift the price over to you.
well, the video that I sent, let me say this, the video I sent Stacy to send it to Aguna, the gentleman was talking about how since we bombed, since the two bombs we dropped on Japan and we destroyed Japan pretty much, and then Germany was destroyed after World War II. So we have been paying, the United States have been paying we've been paying the tariffs in Japan. In other words, the products. We've been doing it ever since then to build up Japan. So, but
what
are you talking about?
Hold on.
Well, you have to listen to the video.
Let's be nice to him.
Now, be nice.
Because again,
I'm trying to explain what the gentleman was talking about. That's he's the economist.
What tariff?
We have a tariff. Every country has a tariff. It's like what Trump was saying with China. They charge a tariff on us.
Keith, let him, please.
If we're going to do this, we have to do it by point, Keith. So we have to get to the actual answer. So you made the comparison to Aguna. So you're asking Aguna about the policies of a country as small as Japan, which we still have military bases on, and you want to compare that to the United States economy. Can Aguna take the time to explain to you why that is a bad comparison to start with? Can we do that? We're going to get there. Let's do that slowly.
It's not just Japan. We also do it with China.
No.
So it's the same thing.
We're going to use your first example. And
okay, forward. Go ahead.
So you realize that Japan basically has the same size economy as maybe like California, So the dimensions of scale, and so if you look at what a tariff is and who actually pays the tariff, right? So you're saying that Japan is charging us for goods, we're charging them. So there are probably some trade negotiations, but realize this: we make far more things as far as agriculture and the things like that for here than they do in Japan. Yeah, they can charge us a tariff, and guess what we're going to do? We're going to pass that on to the Japanese consumers to pay for. So
Do
even
we
though they're
still make
taking their,
but wait a minute, do we still make things in the United States?
we
Of course
grow
we do.
crops. We grow crops that they can't grow in Japan.
Because it seems like
Yes, we
yeah.
grow. We have
Remember the
milk. There's all kinds of
soybeans
things that we
that
have
Trump
here that they don't have there. Yes.
Okay.
And so now, when you're talking about manufacturing, there's a reason why we import things from China. It's cheaper for us to make them there. So it's cheaper for U.S. companies to make things overseas. We're taxing ourselves by bringing it back here. And guess what? That tax goes to the government and the cost goes to the consumer. So you're basically just increasing people's taxes and you're not really punishing any country because they're just going to pass it on to you.
Yeah, and think of us as an exporter of high value things. So on the value chain, the Chinese stuff that's lower in the value chain. The stuff we send over there, that's MRI machines, that's data centers, that's nuclear stuff, like all of the big stuff. That's the stuff we export to them. And again, when you talk about Japan, small country, no oil, no gas, they have to bring in just about everything. And again, we still have military bases there and an influence on how their government
and they're
runs.
paying for their consumers are paying for that tariff.
Yes, because
So
that's
at
how
the end of the
they
day,
operate.
You can see that video. Man, that was a good video.
Well, you know what?
well, you saw explain it. Were we not saying within the video? Or are you not? Can you not articulate what we talked
can't
about?
explain. I can't
Use
explain
some
the way
words he
did.
didn't
No, he's-
understand, and he was befuddled, and he doesn't know. I'll explain U.S. China real quick. This will take under a minute and a half.
And Japan, by the way, we're making money off Japan.
Stacy,
Aguna, are you gonna let him explain?
Stacy, you can time me on this. So a U.S.
go ahead.
company, a U.S. company gets a partnership in China and has a factory there. Let's say, okay. So they're selling products in China. Let's say they make $200 million. That $200 million, that company goes to the Chinese government because the Chinese government is not going to allow you to put U.S. dollars in circulation. They go to the Chinese government. Hey, we made $200 million. They say, okay, trade that into us. We'll give you 1 billion yuan. That's the Chinese currency. So that company takes that 1 billion yuan. Now they can operate there. Now the Chinese government takes that $200 million they got from that company, calls the U.S. Treasury. Hey, we got $200 million. Interested in buying some T-bills and protective things that we can make money on. U.S. says, oh, sure, we'll sell you some T-bills. They sell the $200 million. Now we have the $200 million in the United States. And what do we say to China? Well, you guys got some exports I'm sure you'd like to send over here. Yes, we do. And rinse, wash, repeat. That is the cycle of the economy between China and the U.S. They are the world's foremost exporter. We are the world's foremost importer. And it works because of the strength of the dollar. So that's basically the world economic system, if we're being honest, because everybody kind of has to get on board. You understand that, you'll understand why the idea of tariffs is a bad idea if you're the number one importing country, not exporting.
Well,
that makes sense.
All right.
Yeah, and that was under a minute. Can you guys hear?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can hear.
yeah. So Stacey, you can't play that video real quick. It's really short.
Did you not listen to anything we just said?
I just heard. Yeah, I just said that's his opinion. Yeah, I heard what he said. Yes.
That is not my opinion. That's the process.
Well, look. Okay, let me just say it this way: Trump has a different idea, and you don't agree with it. Okay, so you're saying
he wants to raise
Trump
tariffs.
already
What are you
did
talking
that.
about?
Yes,
and the
yes.
people were
He wants to raise
screaming.
tariffs.
The soybean. Remember the
He
farmers.
wants to raise tariffs on China and Mexico.
He did that already.
And so what we're saying is, and Biden has kept many of those tariffs in place. You're saying Trump has some type of different idea than what we explained. A tariff is a tariff. It's a tax on you, the consumer. We're going to end up paying for it. So if Trump wants to increase taxes and you think that's okay, I'm not okay with that.
Okay, that's fine.
A
But
tariff. Do you understand that a tariff is a tax? Do you understand?
Explain the soybean situation from last time, Aguna. Explain that to him.
Oh well,
that's a prime example.
So okay, and I may mess this up because it was the soybean farmers in the U.S. It was a trade war because they were importing our soybean and they wanted to raise the taxes, and it actually ended up causing us more, because at the end of the day, soybean farming in the U.S. is heavily subsidized, right? So if we were to increase tariffs on China, they were going to increase tariffs on the soybeans, which actually trickled down to them, and it became like a pseudo trade war, which didn't work out well for us.
And the farmers, they didn't make any money.
We had to bail them out to the tune of $46 billion from the Treasury to bail out the farmers. And of course, when you try to do tariffs in a globalized economy, that just means somebody else gets your order. So instead of our farmers selling the soybeans, Argentina, Brazil, and other nations stepped into place into that and got a piece of that market share that they previously didn't get based on the tariffs. They were able to sell soybeans to China. And we had to subsidize our farmers again with that welfare money, that $46 billion, in order for those farmers to keep their farms and not go completely bankrupt, because this man disrupted their market with a tariff.
All right. Well, if you guys, okay, so you're not going to see the video that I. Wait a minute. I listened to you. Now let me just hear me out. Hear me out. Look, I just sat and listened to you.
Hold on.
So why not just let me make my statement? I just sat and listened to you. You explained it.
Hold on. Can you just admit that, okay, during his first administration, he tried this already, and that was the result? That's what me, Aguna, and Todd just described to you. The result from last time when he tried that. Will you agree with that?
Okay.
So why do you think tariffs 2 is going to work?
I did not say that it would necessarily work. I just wanted you, all I wanted was an opinion on the video that I wanted you to see, because the other guy explains it, the way he does. I mean, I don't have an opinion exactly on what I think about the tariffs right now. I know it's a tax, and I'm against higher taxes, unless the way this guy explains it. I just wanted you to see it. The way he explains
it's against
very
everything you stand for, though, Keith. It's actually government interfering in the markets, which is something
I don't like
claim
that.
not to like.
I don't like that, but look, we've already got that. There's nothing we can do about that. Government's going to be forever involved in our medical and in our medical decisions, as well as in our financial decisions. All of that's already done. We're done for when it comes to that. So we're not going to have a free market. We're not going to have a free market. I'm sorry.
Does that exist anywhere in the world? Keith,
What's
does
that?
that exist anywhere in the world where the government doesn't intervene in markets, healthcare, food, everything else? Is there a country in the world that doesn't have that?
I don't know. They tell me Sweden is probably one of the best places.
That's a country with a high social safety net and a lot of government spending. So no, that's not an example. There is no example on earth, Keith.
and see, that's why I'm saying we're not going to have that. So all I'm saying is, all I want you to do is just listen to that particular short video.
I didn't receive anything by email, and I didn't receive it by text either, Keith.
I know. I sent it to.
Where is it located?
Okay.
Was this an economist on that website you recommended last time, Keith?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. I can still hear you guys.
This is where the trouble is.
No, I just wanted to hear your opinion. That's all. I mean, we're not going to have.
Who was the economist? Who was the economist?
Can we do an impromptu? Can we do an impromptu? Aguna and East Atlanta Santa and Keith Todd probably can't do it, but can we do an impromptu TikTok live?
When right now?
Yeah.
TikTok.
Oh my gosh.
Talking about what?
We're just going to go on and talk about what we've talked about on the show. We're just going to continue it.
Where's Keith?
No, I'm here.
I don't know if Keith, can you get on TikTok?
I don't go on TikTok.
Can you get on there?
He better not.
I probably could.
There's a niece and a nephew that would be horrified if
Let's put it this way. TikTok to me means about as much as Fox does to Aguna and Nas and Todd.
Okay,
how about that?
It's a media platform. It's not a media outlet. It's a platform. So.
Well, I still don't. I'm sorry, gentlemen. I do not. Because I believe it's controlled by China and it's designed to gain more information. I'm sorry. Sorry, gentlemen.
I can actually.
It's designed to gain more information.
Please forgive me, gentlemen. That is the way I will keep it that way.
thing is, there's MAGA supporters on there, and you would enjoy it if you actually.
Oh, I'm sure they are, but I'm not. This MAGA supporter will not be on there. Not if I can help it.
Thank you, Keith.
I'm trying
for
to
all
find.
that you are and all that you hope to be.
You guys make me laugh. You're funny.
Yeah, but cousin Tyler, I'm sorry for cutting you off because I know you was going to try to explain the soybean thing to him, but that was just it was just so frustrating. It was like, dude, he tried this before. This was the result. Like, do you get that? Like, what?
Amazing.
Well, look, you guys are trying to explain something to me that I'm not really interested in, but all I wanted you to do was see. I wanted your opinion about. I mean, I'm trying to get educated on something. I want to know what you guys thought, and I got to find this thing.
I think you were really trying to perpetrate a fraud there, Keith. You were trying to propagate some Trumpisms that you were trying to push Trump's economic plan that really is non-existent.
Well, if Trump has he does have a plan, and he talks about how China eats our lunch, with the tariffs that they force on us.
But they make it. They make
explained it.
They make his size though.
You know what? I want to talk about this because Keith would usually be off of this show and calling his his buddy, and to find out if he's okay and what happened and all that kind of.
Steven said he's okay. He said he texted me. Steven said, don't nobody want to know. Let's see the truth on the show, brother. He said nobody wants to know the truth. I'm tired of them. They have evil energy. So that was
oh, he said he's tired of us.
And what did you say back to him?
You should have said, "Shame on you."
I usually well, I'll tell you, I usually encourage Steven. I say, Steven, don't give up. These guys are just, they don't know. They don't understand, the truth, even if they saw it. They're deceived.
I mean, but
just stay with
Keith, do you think we're reasonable people?
In some ways, yes.
So do you think if you have a conversation with us, we'll listen rationally and have a dialogue? Do you think you can have that with us?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay. So do you think we can have that with Steven? Do we think we can have that with Steven?
Yes.
I don't know. No, he does. No, because you know why I say we can't? Because if your punchline is you're a liar, you're evil, and you just don't want to know the truth. I mean, that right there says that you're actually projecting your emotions and your insecurities on us. Because if you were true in your convictions, you're gonna have a dialogue.
What?
Can you put your camera back on, please?
Oh, sure. Well, Steven's a little more emotional than I am.
That means he's stable. Because you, as a man, if you can't control your emotions, that makes you less of a man. Because what men do, we control our emotions.
Well,
we want to have logical conversations. Not to say that women can't. I'm just saying, but as men, that's one of our MOs. That's part of our DNA.
I'm going to say it. Let me say it this way. And I know you guys won't like this, but if you notice Trump, Trump went to the Black Journalists Conference, and he sat with two Black women. They were just very mean and very nasty. They were very.
So time out. Stop right there. Time out. Wait, 1 second. Mean and nasty.
Yes. What does that mean?
Is that where, so you're starting off the description of these women as being mean and nasty.
Black ones.
So there, you're already setting the tone for intolerance. Because at the end of the day, only Trump uses the word nasty to describe women who, he has done that consistently. And I think there's better words or better usage of the English language than to do that. Just say, hey, I didn't agree with these people.
Do you think your wife is mean and nasty?
My point is that when these women asked him a question, they were very, how about rude? Is that a better word?
Is Trump rude? Is Trump rude?
No.
Is Trump rude? Is Trump nasty?
No, Trump was
also, Trump is not rude. Trump is not nasty, but he can call Kamala Harris stupid and dumb.
See, right now, you're not letting me respond. Trump was Trump was calm. He was collected, and he told them, and he said, "You are not. That kind of question is not a good question." So basically they're asking questions about character instead of policy. And every time we go into that, Trump, he does fall for this, and I wish he wouldn't, but he falls for it all the time.
Why does he
when
fall
someone
for it?
attacks your character,
Why does he fall for it?
hold on, let me just finish. When Trump's character is attacked, he lashes back out and attacks them. And see, that's what Stephen does. You know, it's emotional. But what you notice what I do.
And
When
it's
you guys-
also a weakness. It's also a weakness.
When you say, let me just finish.
It's
When
also
you
a
say
weakness.
that,
We're talking
when you
about
say
the
things
leader
like-
of the free world. You're
when
talking about
you
the leader
say
of the free
things
world,
like-
unable
Let
to
him
control their
finish.
emotions.
When
Let
you
him
say
finish,
things
please.
like, when you call me a liar, or you call me, you say I don't know this, or
No, I
you
said
know,
that's not
nonsense.
true. I don't call you a liar.
I never jump back at you and call you guys those things. All I say, I just remain quiet, or I may smile. I mean, that's a different way that I approach it, and I usually keep myself calm.
Oh,
I never lose my cool.
But to your point, Keith, you just
Yeah.
said that Trump is someone that lashes back. Okay,
Yeah,
he
he does.
lashed back against female journalists, right? He lashed back about with Kamala Harris during the debate. What is he going to do when he's in front of world leaders like Vladimir Putin, who is KGB, who knows how to use suggestive speech to manipulate you and to coerce you into saying and looking like a fool like he's done before, you know? And so you're saying you're just exposing a weakness in his character that we have been questioning on this show. I mean, policy is one thing, but if you can't control your emotions and you got to be all yelling at the camera and stuff like that, that isn't somebody I want with the nuclear code. That's not somebody I want in leadership position.
But we
right?
saw,
and you also talked about how he came back at he said that's a very nasty question. Okay, let's pause it right there. You're talking to journalists, right? Instead of critiquing the question, answer the question. Be strong. I mean, at the end of the day, let them talk about your character, because American people want to know about your character just as much as they want to know about your policy. It's not either or, it's either and, because one's going to influence the other. It's your character is the reason why 200 former aides and employees didn't endorse you. Mike Pence didn't endorse you. You fired all these people, right? Trump brags about firing people. My question is, why did you hire them to begin with? Doesn't that show something about your judgment? If you can't hire the right people, you got all this turnover, and you can't show leader. So all those things come into play, and that's why we on this show talk the way we do, because at the end of the day, you can't just vomit, like the guy said, word vomit stuff out. Look at J.D. Vance. Look how J.D. Vance was so condescending to Dana Bash on her show. Condescending, and I thought he was kind of nasty the way he was trying to turn things and try to, so at the end of the day, it's only nasty when a woman does it. But when a man does it, it's a strong show of strength.
That's what I was trying to say for a half hour. He said those two black women, they were mean and nasty. But why don't you say white boys can't control themselves, like my boyfriend, Keith, Stephen, Donald Trump.
You asked me, Stephen was being nasty. Because at the end of the day, yelling at them. You're not saying that.
These white boys are nasty. Only black women are nasty.
Well, I'm not gonna. Steve's not here to defend himself, but I would.
Well, he's your.
Donald Trump is not here.
As a pivot.
Stephen's a good man. See, Stephen's a good man. He always.
Okay, we got you.
And when he gets angry, when he gets upset,
we don't care. But Keith, hold on. You're a presidential candidate, and you make remarks on the record, on the microphone that people hear. And a journalist asks you, when you said such and such, what did you mean by that? Or why did you say this thing? And then he lashes out and tries to flip the table and turn the interview into a situation where he doesn't have to answer the question. We've seen kids do this. This is like a childlike behavior pattern that we've always seen and understood as he doesn't know the answers. This is his way of getting out of questioning. That's why it's always the disruption and Harris answers questions.
Oh,
she
really?
Answers it.
And you know everything about her.
Why are you pivoting? Why are you pivoting? We're talking about Trump. Don't fall for it, Nah. We're talking about Trump right now.
Finish.
You know what I'm saying? You're trying to say, well, Harris doesn't do it. Is that your standard? Is that your standard?
Do it.
If you're saying Trump is better than Harris, why are you holding Harris? Why are you holding him to a Harris standard?
I know that
Trump is so better.
Won't do it, but I'm going to support Trump.
Keith, this is what you have to understand.
I'm going to support Trump in spite of that.
He doesn't understand policy. That's why he doesn't answer these questions. When they asked
Right.
him about health care, and he said, well, we got an outline to a plan. That is who he actually is as far as
Yes.
understanding
Fake it
politics.
till you make it. Fake it till
Well,
you make it.
can we
Get
agree
it.
on this, gentlemen? Can we agree on this? Look, with all of the flaws
Qualified,
in
we're all
Trump's
qualified.
listen, with all of the flaws in Trump's character, I am choosing to still support him. And just like you, can you honestly say that you will support Harris, in spite of all of her flaws? Yes or no?
I would not
Pause.
support her if she was a bigot, if she was rude, if she was
I'm asking you.
a
I
con
didn't ask
artist,
you that.
a liar.
I
I
didn't
would
ask you
not
that.
support her.
Well, do you support her now? Can I ask you
Yes,
that?
because she is.
Okay, there. So that's the
She
way it
had.
is. We're
Wait a
not going
minute.
to change each other's minds.
Because she has
That's
policies
true. Y'all not
that
gonna
will
change each other's
benefit.
minds.
She has policies that will benefit me and my
Okay.
family.
Oh,
What
you think so?
policies does Trump have for you and your families?
Oh, he's got the what do you call that? That he did when he was in 4 years.
See what I mean?
He had that. What is it called? The community where he built up finance. He had the.
Oh, you're talking about the opportunity
I can't
zone.
think of it. Yeah, yeah.
We've talked about that on this show. So the
Yeah, that was a good opportunity.
played out in this fashion.
And now,
When
of course, Harris.
Did you invest in one? Did you invest in one?
It's a good opportunity act. Is good.
Did you invest in one?
No, I didn't need to. I didn't need to.
Then what are you talking about? But go
I
ahead.
didn't
Go
need to
ahead.
invest, but I mean, there are other people
You
who
didn't need to. They were ineffective. They were ineffective, and
need
they were
to.
a channel to his cronies.
I'm doing okay. I'm doing fine financially.
The opportunity zones weren't
saying whether
necessarily.
you like the policy or not. So the opportunity
Oh, the policy's
zones
good. Yeah,
played
because
out like
that's the-
gentrification on
just
steroids.
like
the areas
no.
that needed be quiet. The areas that needed this influx of cash, it was taken up by the people of means who had wealth in order to buy those tax breaks, and they're just sitting on them right now to this very day.
Man.
Matter of
Right.
fact, Jared
Tax holders.
Kushner owns some in Baltimore. Like, you don't even see the grift. That's what's so crazy about all this. It's like you're signing up. I'll just put it in these terms. If you don't make $50 million a year, there's no reason to be a Trump supporter. Like, if you're not in that economic strata, then you're just playing.
Right.
And if you make under 400,000, I guess you will not be taxed, right? Higher rate.
Correct.
That's not
Correct.
true.
You're talking about capital gains? That has nothing
Yes.
to do with 400,000. You're talking about 100 million. You're talking crazy money, capital gains.
Well, I'm
dog.
talking about that's what Biden said. I'm just going by
No.
that. But
Stop pivoting.
people
Stop
that
pivoting.
make-
Talk about the Trump tax hike because
Yeah,
he
that-
streamlined the tax code.
But
Trump
it did
streamlined
not-
the tax code, and you couldn't write off your mortgage. You can't write off charitable donations. You can't write off state income tax. So he actually increased taxes for a lot of Americans, but he
Exactly.
simplified the tax code. So I mean, again, we're trying to act like things were so much better under a Trump administration, where with a disastrous recovery to the pandemic, he handled that horribly. All right, he handled that horribly. All right, the economy that he inherited from Obama was moving along quite well, and so he really didn't have to do anything to keep that thing going.
And
he
he
did
had the highest deficit of any president in American history.
So you blame, and I bet you blame him for COVID as well, right?
No,
No, I don't blame him for COVID at all. I blame him for the response. I think he could have done a better job at the response.
Remember, he said it's just like the flu, and it'll be gone in a week. It'll be
Well,
gone
it
before
probably
it's
was.
gone.
I mean,
No,
that
but
was-
then he undermined it. Like you want Stephen wants to try Dr. Fauci for war crimes. Trump hired Dr. Fauci. You know what I'm saying? So that was his decision, but somehow Dr. Fauci was detached from the administration.
But don't forget what he first said when he said, "This is a dangerous virus. It's airborne," and he pretended that he didn't hear that.
Well, see, it's hard for me to argue on that because I wasn't affected. For some reason, I just didn't get COVID. I didn't
Do
wear.
you
a
have
mask.
to be affected to understand that things still go on? Like, how does
Well,
that-
yo,
I mean, things happen in this country.
You know what it's
that
like.
don't
I
affect you.
guess, and I'm
A
being a
million
little
people
bit
died.
facetious here, but it's kind of like crime. Okay, I know crime is up, but a lot of people
It's
still
not
don't
up.
really.
Crime is down. This is what Trump
Saying
convinced
as an
you of.
example, Todd.
I'm
Todd,
trying
No,
to
he's
get.
but
saying as an
you
example.
can't use that because it's a lie.
I'm
Crime
trying
is
to,
down.
Todd, but let me finish my statement. Crime is up in L.A. You don't live in Los Angeles, so there's no way you can convince me that I'm not telling the truth. I know what I'm talking about. Just where I live, there's crimes happening all the time, and it's higher than it's ever been on
Crime is
metro
down in
and on
America. The
transportation.
FBI
Crime
just said
is
that.
up. Okay, I don't care what they say, FBI and all those guys. Crime is up. So here's my point. But
Yeah.
the people like you who are not affected directly, personally, would all obviously say that it's down. And that's the same
No,
thing
they
with
have
the
a
economy.
chart.
The
They have a
economy,
chart.
if you are not affected by it, like you or Aguna or Nas, it doesn't affect you. So quite naturally, you're going to say, "Oh, there's no difference in the economy." So
But
people only
Keith,
react to what affects them.
realistically, what can a president do about local crime on the local level?
Well, he can close the border for one thing, because we're getting a lot of
Yeah,
people.
you're avoiding the question because you're trying to equate crime to migrant, but crime, a lot of that
it is true.
Migrants, crime rates
No.
among migrants and illegal immigrants is very low compared
Well,
to.
it doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect you. So you
That
don't
has
look
nothing to do with affecting anyone. It's just statistically proven that
No, it's not.
migrants and illegals, first thing they're here illegally, why would they want to commit a crime? They're going to get
Once
sent out of
again,
here.
once again, we disagree. That's all right.
No,
See,
no,
again,
we're not disagreeing.
You don't
I'm giving
have a
you
chart.
actual
You haven't
information.
seen it.
Here's the thing.
So here's the thing.
You know why
Here's the
you
other
guys,
part of
you know
it.
why we get along here? Because, and my reaction is this. I know that you guys have a different agenda. You have a different mindset.
No.
So
Nothing
I
about
don't,
it. We're having a
so I don't,
conversation.
let me
We're
finish.
pivoting.
Let me
Facts are
finish.
facts.
We're pivoting.
But
You're trying
let
to
me
make it
finish.
about agenda. I'm having a
Let me
conversation.
finish.
And
Let me
giving
finish.
facts.
Let
You're
me
pivoting
finish
to
before you
agendas.
go.
I'm
So
talking
you won't
about
even let me finish.
factual
Facts.
So
conversation.
you won't even let me finish my statement.
Don't say we have an
You
agenda
have
then. That's a cop
okay.
out.
You have a different philosophy. You have a different philosophy than
You
I
have
have.
facts.
My philosophy is different from your philosophy.
It's not
And
philosophy.
that's
It's
all we
facts.
have to do.
Stop
Philosophies,
doing that little. He's saying different words. Just stop doing the words, please.
yeah. I'm just saying philosophies are
So
our
I asked you a
Say
specific
facts.
our
question.
worldview. Our worldview is different. Our
Just say
view of the
facts.
world
We have
is different.
proven facts.
Okay. I'm not talking about facts. I'm talking about ideology. Okay.
Yeah,
Ideology.
so even with this ideology, I
Yeah,
asked
it's
you
a belief.
specifically, what can the federal government do about crime on the local level? You said close the border. That's a
Yes.
great response. Okay.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I think some things should be left up to the states. You're pushing down a lot of things to the states, like abortion, gun control, all this other stuff is being pushed down to the states, but yet you expect the federal government to do something about crime on the local level. So my thing is, you're sitting here cherry picking the issues, and you're trying to correlate illegal immigration to crime, which crime amongst illegal immigrants is very low compared to crime against local people. And again, crime in urban areas is going to be higher because there's more people together. There's more statistically, it's more opportunity for that to happen. So you can't just sit there and say crime is correlated to
But let
illegal
me put it to you
immigration.
this
That's
way.
a far-fetched.
Would a single crime happen if the illegal alien were not in the country?
Would
In
a
other words, the
single
crime
crime happen?
Yeah, with the
Crime would
crime
happen
What
wherever
crime?
there are criminals.
if I were an illegal alien and I were in the country, and if I committed a crime, then should I be punished for it? Yes or
You
no?
will be. You will be.
No, I won't be. Not
Yes,
most
you will
likely
be,
not.
because if you do a crime, you'll get arrested, you'll go to jail. That's how
Oh,
it
really?
works. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We're
And just
gonna.
like if you're an illegal immigrant in this country,
People are gonna
are you
leave.
going to go
I'm
vote?
leaving.
You're going to go try voting?
Everybody's leaving.
Different
Have a good
philosophy.
night.
Good
No,
night,
yeah,
everybody.
we live in reality over here. I don't know what. Say hello to the rest of the Martians and everybody on the planet that you live on, Keith. All right, y'all have a good evening.
God bless.
Good evening. Good evening, y'all. Check us out on TikTok at Sporlitiks.com.